Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan, a podcast for anyone wanting to start, grow or scale a profitable creative product business with me, Catherine Erdley. The Resilient Retail Game Plan is a podcast dedicated to one thing, breaking down the concepts and tools that I've gathered from 20 years in the retail industry and showing you how you can use them in your business. This is the real nuts and bolts of running a successful product business, broken down in an easy, accessible way. This is not a podcast about learning how to make your business look good. It's the tools and techniques that will make you and your business feel good. Confidently plan, launch and manage your products, and feel in control of your sales numbers and cash flow to help you build a resilient retail business. Welcome. It's the Resilient Retail Game Plan with me, Catherine Erdley, your host and the founder of the Resilient Retail Club, which is my membership group and consultancy for product businesses. Find out more about the membership, including how to join, as well as all of my one-to-one services by visiting resilientretailclub.com. I'm really excited to share today's story with you. I am joined by Natalie Bent, who founded Little Scholars Playground with her partner during lockdown. It's such an amazing story. Natalie discovered some pretty incredible hidden talents, as she'll hear more later, and I hope that you enjoy it. I will just say that I was having some microphone issues during this recording of this podcast, I should say. As a result, my voice is a little bit fuzzier than normal, so I do apologise for that, but I hope you enjoy the episode. Good morning, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself and Little Scholars Playground?
Yes, thank you, Catherine. Thanks for having me on your podcast. So my name's Natalie, and I'm the co-founder of Little Scholars Playground. So we create diverse children's books and learning resources. And I started the business with my partner, I'd say in 2020 during lockdown, after we had our daughter, and then we launched the business last year in 2021.
Okay, fantastic. So predominantly, I know you've talked a bit about the mission of Little Scholars Playground. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you were aiming to do, or kind of what's the big push behind the brand?
Well, we created a STEM range. So part of our mission is to encourage parents and early years practitioners to introduce STEM to children really early on. So just a bit of a background about myself and my partner's profession. So I am a web designer and developer, and my partner works in aerospace engineering. And we don't see many people that look like us within our field.
Right.
So for me as a woman, it's improved definitely over the years, but it's not where I think it should be. So I don't see many women and Black women within the web design and the development space. So part of our mission is to encourage, as I said, parents to introduce STEM early on. And we also feel like there's, I wouldn't say a stigma, but an expectation or a thought that STEM is really, really expensive and you have to buy these really expensive robots and, but we want to make it accessible to all. So for those just going back that aren't aware of what STEM stands for, it's an acronym. So it's science, technology, engineering and maths. So we want to ensure that STEM is accessible to all. So for example, we launched a pack of STEM activity cards for children aged 3 to 6. And it's just creating simple science experiments or engineering activities at home using household items. And if you don't have them in the home, you can get them from the supermarket. So we just want to, as I said, make STEM accessible to all. And we just want to kind of highlight all the benefits that STEM offer children. So it's really good for problem solving, collaborative learning, because often children will do these activities with a sibling, or in a school setting, it will be with other children, students within school, improves their communication skills and lots of different things like that. And then also going back to both of us being, Black professionals within this profession, there is a stat that only 6.2% of students that enroll on a STEM related subject at universities are Black. And we just don't understand why, because that's just really so low. And it's just really, really low. And there is another stat, I like stats. The World Economic Forum did a study on the top 25 subjects in terms of career and pay, and all of those subjects are STEM subjects. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's amazing. And it's an area that creates the innovators, the inventors, the leaders of tomorrow. If you think about everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people getting into tech, and, it's like really high paying. So, yeah, that's part of our kind of focus, really, because we just feel like children can't be what they can't see. So, children
Yes.
need to see females in STEM and tech and science. You know, for example, the GCSE science curriculum, they don't teach any female scientists, which is just mind blowing to me. It may have changed now, and I didn't
Really?
see that information a few years ago. Yeah, it just blows my mind. So yeah.
Fascinating. And that's such an important point that you said there. Children can't be what they can't see. And so it's almost like a double whammy, isn't it? If you're talking about, number one, girls in general are not being sort of shown these role models, or being shown that this is an area for them. And also then, if everyone you see in the materials for children are white, then it suddenly, it's just so important, as you said, that to feel like somebody like me can do something like this, right?
Yeah, it's like if you see somebody that looks like you doing, a career that you may not have any family members or friends or parents that work within that field,
Yeah.
you kind of have something to aspire to, because you can think, well, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
So, just representation in general is just so important, and it's good for children's confidence and self-worth. And I just believe that, toys and books and learning resources should just realistically represent the world children live in anyway. Then there's so many different races out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that you started this. So was your daughter born in 2020?
So she was born the end of December 2019, but I still call her the lockdown baby, because then we locked down like 3 months later, I was just fit enough, ready. Yes, I can go out now and enjoy being a mom. And then it's like I ended up walking around the garden with the pram, because we were just scared of what on earth is COVID.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. She was the inspiration behind the business, because we ended up having about 3 holidays cancelled in 2020. And as I said, my partner works in aerospace engineering, so he's passionate about aeroplanes and travel. I thought, okay, well, she loves reading and we like reading to her. So we looked for books, and at the time, she loved those lift the flap pop-up books.
Yes.
We couldn't find not one that had a character that looked like her.
Right.
So that's how the business started. So our first products were 2 board books, lift the flap books, and they were an adventure series where Zara's Caribbean Adventure, she goes around the Caribbean, and Emmanuel's African Adventure, he goes on an adventure around Africa, and they're, as I said, lift the flap books. So yeah, so that's how the business started.
I think that's such a common, and it's such a wonderful, I think, inspiration for a business is this idea that when you have a child, and then you're looking for something for your child, and then you thinking, well, I can't find it, and then okay, I'm going to make it for them. So what's the reception been like for things like the lift the flap books and as well as the STEM activities?
Oh, it's been amazing. It really has been amazing. It's what started off as, I would say, a hobby, because at the time, if I'm honest, I didn't even know I could draw. It was only like in lockdown, and my partner saw my drawing. He's like, oh, well, naturally I'm creative anyway, because obviously I'm a web designer, but I've never drawn anything. And he said, oh, your drawing's amazing. And I was like, really? And then when I tell people that, I probably shouldn't, but they're flabbergasted. And the board books really took off. And as I said, there was nothing really out there like that, with black characters, and that were lift the flap board books and of a high quality. So it just took off from there. And then we did a few more books, learning resources, and then we've launched the STEM range, which has a STEM book, STEM journal, so children can create and invent their own things as well. So they have space for, I think, 16 or 17 inventions that children can create, with prompts on things that they need to think about, like what problem they're trying to solve, etc. And then we've got the STEM activity cards, which I mentioned. So those are science, technology, engineering, and maths activities using household items. And I think that's it. So the reception has been really, really good. And a lot of parents, they want to create these kind of activities at home. We see them on Instagram, and we're quite passionate about the Montessori practice, and people think, where on earth do I start? So it kind of gives them a start. So get a lot of good feedback, which is really, really nice.
It's fantastic. I have to say, I mean, if you listen to the podcast, go to littlescholarsplayground.com and take a look at the books, because if this is your illustrations are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I find that incredible. I mean, so you literally were like, oh, I can draw, and then you just do amazing illustrations.
Literally. And we went to an event in Birmingham last summer, and I bought some of the books because there was an illustrator I'd admire that was there. And I thought, I'm going to just show him the books and get some feedback. And we did. And he was amazed at what I had produced with the illustrations. And he gave such great feedback. He couldn't believe it. And I thought, maybe I should stop saying this because people might think I'm lying.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, how wonderful as well to discover that talent.
Definitely. And now I'm addicted. I invested in an iPad, so I draw using Procreate, an app on the iPad, and I'm just me and my iPad.
The sky's the limit.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So you're focusing on STEM because obviously that is your career and your partner's career. Do you feel that when you were younger that you were encouraged in that direction, or was it something that you kind of came across yourself?
So it's definitely not something I thought I would ever kind of, I wouldn't say fall into, but eventually work within that space, because I didn't know anyone or female or woman that was working in tech or design or development. So I studied for my bachelor's in business and film and television studies. And I actually went on to work in marketing. So I worked in retail marketing head office, just like yourself. So I worked for companies like Marks and Spencer, Superdrug, Woolworths when they were around, if you remember them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you find that's helpful now in terms of running Little Scholars Playground?
Oh, definitely. We say it all the time. We're so lucky. I think we probably have to outsource our marketing because it takes up so much of your time. And there's just so many different areas within marketing that you think about: PR and email marketing and social media marketing, and the constant changes with algorithms and things like that. So I definitely think it's helped massively, because I feel like I know what I'm doing. And even though I left that profession, I think 2014 or 2013 now, still a lot that I do remember that's been able to help us. I don't think the business would have got as far as it has without my marketing background, for sure. Because I feel like you could have the most amazing product, but if nobody knows who you are and you're not, able to execute good marketing, I guess no one can find you and buy your products.
So what was it then that helped you, talking about kind of, you said, like role models and things that gave you that push to go from, so you moved from marketing into web designs? Is that how it went?
Yeah, so when I was working at Superdrug, so I worked in their loyalty marketing scheme, I used to liaise with the web designers and developers who obviously, of course, created our, for example, email marketing templates and did all the design and coding. And there was a lady that worked within that department that I became friends with. And she was the first female that I'd ever met that worked in tech and design. So she would it was just amazing. So she designed our emails. So I would sit with her and say, actually, can we change this, or can you put that there? And she would say to me all the time, you've got, your attention to detail is so crazy. She hadn't really met anyone where the attention to detail who doesn't work in design is so good. That just goes back to, seeing people like you. Yeah. So it gives you kind of that inspiration, or being able to say, okay, they can do it, I can aspire and achieve this as well. So then I did a short course at Putney School of Art and Design just to see if it's something I was interested in. And then I just took a gamble. I didn't change careers immediately. I then went on to work at Marks and Spencer's head office in marketing. And then that's when I realised actually marketing's not for me anymore. I'm not enjoying it. So I went back to uni and studied for my master's in web design and content planning. And then, as they say, the rest is history.
I think that's such an important story, as you say, that the fact that it took for you to see that person in that role, to really then be able to put yourself in that place. And I love the idea how you're starting that so much younger with the educational materials, that you have children who are able to really see themselves as inventors. I love the idea of having an invention journal. That's so amazing.
Yeah. It's doing really well. And we've got a book called STEM Leaders. So it's based around Black inventors and innovators and inventions created by Black people that a lot of people are not aware of. I get a lot of people, even family, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've never heard of this person," but we've made it fun. So we have activities at the back. And so I feel like parents are learning along with their children with some of our products as well, which is really cool.
Which do you think is the invention that people are most surprised to read about?
Traffic lights.
Traffic lights.
Yeah, Garrett Morgan. I think a lot of people
Yes.
get surprised about him, and he's a 3 signal traffic light. I think would probably be quite a surprise to a lot of people, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? That's interesting because my children's school, primary school, I should say, they had a year where everyone was named after every class was named
Hmm.
after an inventor.
Okay.
And I think one of my children was Garrett Morgan, and I remember reading about it, and just
Yeah.
the
Being
story of the
surprised.
traffic lights is amazing.
Yeah, and also Valerie Thomas, actually, a lot of people are surprised about what she created, invented 3D movies as well. That's
Oh,
a black lady
really?
that used to work for NASA. Yeah.
What year was that? Because weren't 3D movies I read somewhere that they were invented like way before people think that they were.
Yeah. Yeah. So she created something called an illusion transmitter. So it's what's used. It's like a 3-dimensional tool that's used to create 3D movies.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't actually invent 3D movies, but
But
she invented the tool, yeah, the transmitter that is used within 3D movies.
and it sounds so inspiring to hear it. And then do you find that your daughter enjoys the activities as well?
She loves it. And, she introduced, so as I've mentioned before, we're quite passionate about the Montessori practice. So it's about, not just these toys that with flashing lights and it does it has an end result for the child. It's about the child playing with what they call open-ended play. So
Mm-hmm.
it's you putting the products or building blocks or something within front of your child, and your child has to create something, and the end result is because of them or they're solving a problem. So I really got into that as my daughter, since my daughter was born, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I introduced some of the STEM activities to her as young as 7, 8 months. So like simple activities, like for example, we've got a muffin tray and we just put baking soda, food colouring, and then we use a pipette to put vinegar in, and all the bubbles and the acid and everything mixes up, and we explain to her what that is. And now she's in nursery, and the teachers say to us all the time, she's really advanced for her age. And I truly believe that's all the STEM activities and the reading as well that we've done with her from quite a young age. She's really independent and she just loves crafting and making things. So it's really nice to see.
That must be so rewarding as well to see how the products that you've created are helping in that way too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. She's definitely the inspiration behind the business.
That's wonderful. In terms of running the business then, what would you say have been your biggest challenges?
What would be the biggest challenges? I think originally we produced our board books in China because there's literally no board book manufacturers in the UK. So we had no choice but to go to China. And I feel like the challenge with dealing with manufacturers in China, language barriers, and the rising cost of shipping. So at the time when we ordered the books, I don't know if you heard of the ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal.
Oh, yes. Ever Ready.
Yes, it was a nightmare.
It was on the Ever Ready. Oh my goodness. Or was it stuck behind it? Because it was about a week it was there, wasn't it? So there's this massive pile up behind.
Massive pilot. So we had a major delay. We had taken pre-orders. So, it was our first time launching a book and taking pre-orders. So we had to go back to all our customers to say there's going to be a delay. So that wasn't a great experience. And then it's not as cost effective, I feel personally, producing products in China. So other than our board books, all of our products are manufactured within the UK. So all our STEM activity cards, our latest books, journal, etc. But we just find producing in the UK can be quite pricey. And that means obviously we have to sell our products and put the price up slightly. I still think our products are affordable, but then at the same time, in China, you have a minimum order quantity is usually really, really high.
Right.
Whereas in the UK, you can produce at smaller quantities, which is really, really good, because then you can kind of test the waters and say, instead of producing like 500 or something that you don't know is going to sell, we can manufacture 50, and then if it does well with it, because that's what we did with the STEM activity cards. Initially, we produced, I think, 100, and they sold out. We didn't even like it sold out quicker than we ever expected, and then we've just got some more this week.
So you're able to be flexible then, at least with your kind of test and repeat. You can smaller quantities and then go for bigger orders next time.
Yeah, and I think that I would definitely advise anyone starting a small business, don't order too much stock initially, because you just don't know
Music
if
to
it's
my
going to
ears.
sell.
Yes.
You just don't know if it's going to sell. And luckily, with our board books, we ordered quite a few hundred, but they've sold, and we've gone on and ordered more. So we were quite lucky. But if it didn't sell, we'd have been stuck with tons of books in the loft. So definitely don't order too much. I think also time management. And for me, I'm really passionate about what I do. So I can become a bit OCD in my business and want to work on it every waking hour, like when my daughter's gone to bed, and sit up sketching. And I've learned that it's not healthy. So having boundaries, like I don't work at the weekends now. And when my daughter's gone to bed, that's my time to just relax and chill and watch something on TV. I try to give myself set hours, because being a mum, juggling a 2-year-old and a business, I don't want to burn out. So
it's so true. And I think that we don't necessarily talk about that as much in the small business community, but it is tricky, especially when you're so passionate about your business, because it almost becomes something that you would do for fun as well as for financial reward. So it gets harder then to it gets stickier if you're putting all of your time and effort and energy into it in your spare time as well. I always find, for me personally, when I start taking things really personally, like, so if something goes slightly wrong, I know when my boundaries are in a good place, and I'm also taking the weekends off and stopping at a certain time and not starting for a certain time in the morning, then I'm much more able to roll with the punches and just be like, okay, well, we'll just sort of do this, do that. But as soon as if something doesn't go quite right, and then I start feeling very sort of it's like you get almost like emotionally over invested, don't you? If you're spending all your spare time doing the business and your work time doing the business, and then you're not taking that downtime, it can just feel very all consuming. And I don't think that's a great place to be.
And I just feel like it then takes the joy and the enjoyment out of it. It becomes more like a chore or something you have to do rather than you really want to do. So definitely just finding that right balance where it doesn't take over your everything and your world. And just finding the right balance is really, really important, because I know a lot of people that have burnt out in their business where it's just too much and they have to take a break.
Yeah, completely, because as you said, it all becomes all consuming. And of course you have a 2-year-old. I mean, I'm always so in awe of people who run businesses with small children, because when my children were small, like I needed to be, I just don't think I had the sort of energy or mental headspace to run my own business. My kids were much older when I started mine, and I don't think that's really a coincidence.
Yeah, it's definitely tiring. Definitely time, but as I said, I just love, well, both of us, my partner and I, we love working on the business. And it's not, obviously it's a business and we take it very, very seriously, but as I said, we enjoy it. I find it fun coming up with new product ideas, and we brainstorm all the time, and we're already planning on the new products that we want to launch for 2023. So and she's in nursery now as well, so
that must help too. So can you tell us any sort of sneak peeks of what's coming up next?
So new books, we're still kind of working through what we want them to be, but we definitely want to add another STEM book to the range. And as I said, my partner works in aerospace engineering, so he's kind of interested to do something based around aeroplanes. So that's definitely an exclusive. Just expanding our STEM range as well. So maybe adding another activity card pack. We're not sure what that would look like. We also have a wooden puzzle, so it's based around the solar system, which has done really, really well. So I think we probably want to do some more wooden puzzles as well. And we manufacture those in the UK, so we don't have to produce or manufacture too many, which is really good.
That's wonderful, though. And I can totally see how, it's such an amazing mission that you've got for the business. And you must get such great feedback on all of your products. I can definitely see why it's something that you're so passionate about.
Yeah.
So what would you say have been some of your biggest wins then in the business?
Definitely just the feedback that we get from customers about the quality. We always hear the quality is so good, the standard is so good, it's really amazing. And especially for somebody that illustration wasn't necessarily my career, and even my partner, he does all the writing for the books. He wasn't necessarily an author. To get that kind of recognition is amazing. And we sold at Pecksmith. I know you talk about you like Pecksmith
I
last
do
year.
love Pecksmith. It's like my favourite. I'm literally so disappointed this year. It's the weekend and we pick up our new puppy. Is the weekend of Pecksmith, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to try and sneak out and go. But Pecksmith in Peckham, for anyone listening, Christmas market, such a wonderful, incredible event.
Yes, it is, and we're selling there this year. We're there Saturday, the 3rd of December.
Okay.
So if you do come along, I'll look out for you. So we sold at Pecksmith last year, and a gentleman came and picked up 2 of our board books, was reading it, but the way he was reading the book, he was just taking so much in. It wasn't like a general customer. And he gave me his business card, and he said he works for Penguin, and he said he loves the books, loves the board books. And that was just like, I mean, Penguin is one of the biggest publishers in the world. So to get that feedback from them was just so amazing. So it's just getting the feedback from customers. And I'll definitely say, if you're a small business and you're just starting out, for us, we don't really do very many now. We're just doing Pecksmith and one other because we do sell a lot online. But when you're first starting out, going out to the markets were really helpful to get feedback from customers. And then people just asking us, when's the next product? When's your next activity pack? Love it. Just the excitement and the feedback, and not just from family, because your family will always say, oh, it's so good. It's the feedback from strangers that is really nice, and being recognized by different, awards and press. And we were interviewed by ITV News because we did a workshop during Black History Month. So that was amazing as well. Lots of pinch me moments.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, it's such a great story and such a great business. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find out more about you?
Yeah, so we're on social media. I'd mainly say Instagram. So Instagram, Little Scholars Playground, and our website is www.littlescholarsPlayground.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. It was wonderful as always to have you with me. Thank you so much. And if you do have a moment to rate and review the podcast, I would really appreciate that. It makes such a difference to me when it comes to getting the podcast out in front of other people. And of course, if you subscribe or follow the podcast, depending on where you're listening, then you'll be the first to know about every new episode which comes out every week on a Thursday. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, then I invite you to check out resilientretailclub.com. The Resilient Retail Club is the membership for anyone wanting to start, grow or scale a profitable product business. No more trawling Google trying to find the answers to your questions or wading through general business advice that speaks mainly to service-based businesses. Whether you're still at the idea stage or you've been going for a while but want to get more focused and organised when it comes to your business, the Resilient Retail Club is the place for you. With a library of courses tailored to creative product businesses, several live sessions a month, and a supportive and active community, the Resilient Retail Club is the perfect membership to help you hit your goals faster. Check it out at resilientretailclub.com.